To validate your idea with minimal cost and risk in the market, you want to avoid, first of all, to spend all the resources that you have on just the product without knowing whether it's actually going to work. Meaning you wouldn't want to start implementing, building, designing the product yet, but you first want to validate that there's actually a need in the market. So there's three things that you need to take into account. And this follows actually the logic also described in Lean Startup, meaning you want to validate the so-called value hypothesis. Does the product that I have in mind for a specific market add the value? So to do that, there's three aspects. First of all, you want to define what is the job that my product or my solution or my service is going to do. So how does this perform? How does it solve the problem that is in the market? The second thing is the value. So how much better is this than what I currently have today? The problem with new solutions or innovations is there's a lag of adoption because people will have to need a very good argument to change. So the switching cost, there's a lag in switching that is quite high. So for your product to be relevant, it needs to be much better. And ideally it should be 10x, 10 times better. So that's the second thing. And the third thing is you need to define what is the community that I'm addressing this to. So what do the people, the companies that have this problem that needs to be solved have in common that I can also identify so that I can clearly define what niche I'm addressing this to. So to summarize, you need three things. You need to define what job am I doing? How valuable is this job? It needs to be X times better, ideally 10 times better. And who am I addressing this to? What does the market, what does this community have in common so I can find them and address them in an efficient way? And then once you've defined this as a main step, then you try to validate this in the market as leanly as possible. So without developing the product, but by doing, for example, surveys, by talking to the people in exactly that market, and by asking them the questions and validating this value hypothesis. And that should be the so-called problem solution fit exercise, which then allows you, once you get the confidence that yes, there is actually a need in the market for what I'm doing right here, that allows you then to go to the next step, which is achieving product market fit by actually developing the product that will solve all those problems. And actually a lot of the problems will actually come out of those discussions. Many things you may not have thought about, or you overvalued certain issues against others. So this will actually allow you to define and prioritize all the features that you will put into the product for then achieving product market fit and actually going into the market.